Great Sleep with me, Chris Pickard. So thank you for everyone for being early. If at any point you have any questions, please type them in the chat box. Or if you prefer, you can email them to me privately. I tend to get more questions privately, but if it comes up here in the chat box, I might be able to answer it live for you. So how to get a great night's sleep? Well, first of all, what I'd like to say is please make sure that you've turned off your mobile phones, any other browsers, which is what I'm doing now, any other browsers, switch them off, and have a notebook and pen to take notes, although again, you will be getting the replay as well. And so, let's launch. So today, you will learn how to beat insomnia, hopefully, and quiet the mind to enable sleep, to understand your sleep hormones so that you get them to work for you, why your lights and the mobile devices may be making you miserable and disturbing your sleep, and the foods and drinks that will help. And at the end, I'm going to go reveal a 7-week strategy to help fix your sleep long term. I will also start by covering why sleep is so important, why it's so prevalent, insomnia that is, not sleep, serious health conditions to rule out, very, very important, and what can be done overall to get a great night's sleep. So there's me. If you can't already see me in the video, I am Chris Pickard, Director of Body and Balance UK, and my mission is to relieve human suffering and hopefully to save the NHS. So a little bit about that first of all before we get into sleep, because if I can engage you in my big mission, then maybe we're going to make a big difference in the world. Now, my plan is to improve the health of everyone I meet so much that if they're here in the UK, that they will save the NHS £50,000. Why do I say this? Because the average 55-year-old will cost the NHS £100,000 over the rest of their life. And seeing as about 90 to 97% of all chronic diseases that take up the NHS's money, actually from preventable lifestyle problems, at least half of that money can be saved, if not 90% of it. But not only that, I want to inspire people to improve the health of their friends and their family. This is what I call the rising tide effect. Your health is actually directly related to the health of your 5 closest friends, or the 5 closest people to you. And so if you actually improve other people's health, it will improve your health as well. And I also believe that the more healthy we are, the more likely we're to have peace in our minds. I'm going to cover this a little bit later on as well. And when we become more at peace in our minds, we'll be more at peace with the world in general. Maybe we're going to spread some peace in the process. And I hope, like me, you want to see more peace in the world. So that's my plan. What makes me the expert? Well, I have been involved in healthcare for about 23 years now. And basically I like to show people how to add 20 years of health to their life. And there are a number of different strategies that I use to improve people's health. One of them is to improve people's sleep. And I learned most of these strategies from a guy called Dr. Bob Rakowski. Now, Dr. Bob Rakowski is amazing. He's got 3 degrees, one of them in electrical engineering, but 2 of them are very much health related. And he teaches chiropractors, functional nutritionists, medical doctors. He teaches people like me, people who look up to as experts. Dr. Bob is the expert who teaches the experts. That's how cool he is, okay? And so there are other people that I've learned sleep strategies from, but the main guru for sleep is Dr. Rakowski. So here we go. Why is it so important that we sleep? Well, it's because when you sleep, this is when your brain actually cleans itself. It's not just because you're tired and you need to go to sleep. It's actually when all the cells that are damaged in your brain and your body are actually repaired. Your brain can actually then remove gunk that it basically builds up during the day, just because everything has gunk. You know, when you run a car, you have exhaust fumes. When you exercise, the thing that causes pain in your muscles afterwards, that's the end result of exercise. Your brain makes gunk too, and you need to get rid of it. Okay, so your body and your brain repair themselves when you're asleep. Very, very important. Okay, it also organizes your memories and your thoughts as well. So very, very important for your brain in many ways. Now, sleep is a basic human need. Okay, it's not just a chance to get a nap. It's something that we actually need to reset, restore, refresh, replenish, rejuvenate, all of those things. And if you don't get enough sleep, then you will have decreased performance mentally and physically. You'll have decreased concentration, decreased reaction times, decreased memory and learning, decreased immune system function. Yes, if you don't sleep enough, your immune system doesn't work properly, so more coughs, colds, your motivation and productivity go down. And I need to, where's that gone to? Sleep deprivation effects, there we go. Memory lapses, increased accidents and injuries, so you're more likely to crash a car, for instance. Behavior and mood problems, higher stress and anxiety, and for many people, they're surprised to find this, that a lack of sleep can actually cause you to gain weight. And in fact, a lack of sleep can actually stop you from losing weight as well. Very, very, very important. And in fact, all of these conditions together, you can actually say that someone who's got a lack of sleep is basically functionally drunk. And we know that 10 to 30% of the population are not getting enough sleep. They're basically going about their daily life, their relationships, about their job, their career, functionally drunk. And is that any way to run a life in complete perpetual drunkenness? No, it's not. So sleep is a really seriously important problem to get fixed, to get to the bottom of it, because it is related to all-cause mortality, basically. People with chronic insomnia basically are much more likely to die young. It's just as simple as that. So it's very, very important. It's not just about energy. And hello, Parvina, hello. And hello, Cheryl Hughes as well. So what does sleep do for you? Well, it does the reverse of all of those things. It basically improves the function of your nervous system, prevents and reverses depression, restores hormonal balance, increases concentration, boosts the immune system, significantly reduces your levels of cholesterol, improves learning and memory, maintains emotional harmony. Woo! Okay. Now, there are some really serious things, though, to look at before we go any further. Okay, and one of these is something called obstructive sleep apnea. Now, this is caused by basically problems usually in overgrowth in the throat, happens more in men, happens more in obese people as well. Yes, sort of things that can cause snoring can cause this as well. And obstructive sleep apnea is basically where at night you just stop breathing for short periods of time. And of course, this can actually get really serious, and you can stop breathing altogether for an extended amount of time. And this decreases oxygenation to the brain and the body, so it increases heart disease, increases dementia, all kinds of health problems. And the only way to know really if you have obstructive sleep apnea is to have someone listening to you all night long to see if you actually stop breathing. So often you'll actually need to go to a sleep clinic. So, and basically signs of this are maybe if you're getting headaches every morning, and you haven't got neck pain, it's just a headache, you're feeling really, really tired and drowsy every morning, yet in fact you've had really good long sleep, then it's something to get checked. Get this checked. Now the good news is that obstructive sleep apnea, yes, there's a machine you can use, there are other things you can use, but also the sorts of things you actually need to do to make your body healthy actually will decrease sleep apnea as well. But you get it checked. Forms of cardiovascular disease can cause you to be sleepless because it stops the proper return of blood to your heart, proper circulation. Kidney problems, if your kidneys is disturbing your sleep, then you've probably got restless legs as well. So they tend to go hand in hand. So if you've got a lack of sleep, restless legs, really need to get your kidneys checked. Thyroid problems as well. There are some other things, but those are the top 4 really important things. Make sure you get these checked. If you've got chronic sleep problems, check for sleep apnea, get your heart checked, your kidneys, and your thyroid. So let's get into a little bit about actual sleep now, what you need, the phases of sleep, and the parts of your brain involved in getting you to sleep. So first of all, sleep isn't just about how much you get, it's also when you sleep. The optimal time to sleep is from at least 2 hours before midnight. When you sleep before midnight, it seems to be much better for your body's ability to heal itself. It's to do with hormone cycles and regulations, which are set up by day and night rhythms. So it's really, really good to get to sleep well before midnight, and then get up at 6. So you've got 8 hours sleep. On average, most people need about 8 hours sleep. When you're really young, you need more, but most adults, 8 hours sleep is optimal, and you should be able to achieve that as well. Now, there are different phases to sleep. I've just simplified it here, or rather somebody else who put this slide together. And the first couple of stages of sleep are where you just, first of all, you close your eyes, you start to relax, and you go into stage 2 sleep as well, which is, first of all, so there's deep relaxation, then there's light sleep. And this should take about 20 to 30 minutes. And then you go into stage 3 sleep, which is a little bit deeper. This is where the brain really starts to still, as it says there on the slide, but your body may actually still be active a little bit. And then you go into stage 4 sleep, and then stage 5 REM sleep. And so in stage 4 sleep, your body can still be active, okay, but in stage 5 sleep, your brain becomes more active, your breathing actually becomes very arrhythmic, so your eyes move, but your body is pretty much paralyzed, okay. So if you wake up in REM sleep, you can't move. And this tends to be when people panic when they can't move. It's because they're actually awake in REM sleep. Whereas stage 4 sleep, your body is moving, but your brain is really calm and your eyes are still. And then what happens is you tend to cycle through this every sort of hour to an hour and a half. You actually come from stage 4, stage 5, then you go back into sort of stage 2, 3 sleep, and you keep on going around in these cycles. And we need at least 4 of these cycles every night to really get adequate sleep. And here's a nice little chart I found on Huffington Post, and I'm going to put this on our website for you because you probably won't be able to see all of this. In fact, I can't see it all actually because it's too small, but it actually goes through all the different things that happen through each stage of sleep. So at the end, I'm actually going to put a link to a website that you can go to, and I haven't put this picture up there yet, but I will put this picture up because it's interesting. It's interesting to look at, and it may help you understand sort of what the different stages of sleep they will do for you. Okay. Carol Reed says, I wake up a lot mid-dream and feel awful the rest of the day. Right, well, let's fix that for you. So let's now look at the brain itself, because this is what's responsible for our sleep. Now, there are 5 primary brain structures involved in the sleep-wake cycle. The hypothalamus, the pineal gland, the thalamus, the midbrain, and what's called the reticular activating system. And here they are. So, the hypothalamus is this area in here in the middle. It's called the hypothalamus because it's beneath the thalamus, which we'll get to in a moment, which is a bit above the hypothalamus. Now, the hypothalamus has a number of functions in the body, and when you close your eyes, literally the moment you close your eyes, your brain should start making a neurotransmitter called GABA, which is short for gamma aminobutyric acid. Okay, and GABA is what's called your inhibitory neurotransmitter. It basically calms you down. It also makes you feel nice and serene. So it's the thing that basically helps you sort of relax, okay, and chill. And it starts happening when you close your eyes. It should happen as long as you've got all the raw materials and everything working to make GABA. Okay. Right. So when Paul is saying my wake up time is usually about 3 a.m., I'll have something for you coming up shortly, Paul. So then you have your pineal gland. Now this makes what's probably the most famous sleep hormone, which is melatonin. But melatonin isn't necessarily the sleep hormone. It is very important for setting up the sleep-wake cycle. And it's disrupted by blue light, which I'll be getting to later. And the pineal gland, a lot of people think of the pineal gland as a third eye and think it's behind it, but it's actually much further back here somewhere, which on the chart here, I'll go around in yellow, thing back there in the middle of the brain. So you've got your pineal gland, then you have your thalamus. Now your thalamus is very interesting. It's like a switchboard. Pretty much all the information from all of your senses goes through the thalamus, apart from smell, because your sense of smell is actually older than your thalamus. And basically your thalamus is like a switchboard, and it basically decides what is going to reach your consciousness. And during REM sleep, it's active, but during deeper sleep, non-REM sleep, it's actually out cold and unconscious. It's aroused by sounds, okay? But it's not aroused by just any sound once your body's used to it. This is why people can sleep in a jungle. I don't know if you've ever been to a jungle. Very noisy place, lots of bugs. Every hour there's a different bug, so you can actually tell the hour of the night by the different bugs. Certainly in Malaysia, anyway. But basically, the thalamus is there as part of your survival, so it's there to hear if your baby's crying. Your thalamus is going to wake you up. But you can have an overactive thalamus for different reasons, which means you wake up too easily. Then you have your midbrain, and your midbrain isn't more for sleeping, it's more for actually setting up the sleep-wake cycle at the beginning of the day, because it's really stimulated by blue light, and we're going to get to that in a minute. And then you have part of your midbrain called your reticular activating system. Now, your reticular activating system is perhaps the thing that really helps control the whole sleep-wake cycle, and it's the area of your brain that all sleep medication tends to actually target in some way. Okay, now the reticular activating system is in your brainstem, and the brainstem is also the powerhouse of posture. Now, if you sort of slouch and slump and start falling asleep, which you would do in this position, okay, and if you say in a lecture, or say, hi John, suddenly John, who's watching at home, might actually start to sit upright, because when you actually get upright and in good posture, it actually makes you more awake. And good posture is actually related to things like the health of your brain, even when you're sleeping as well. Posture during the day helps your brain at night. And this is all then tied in with the reticular activating system. And this is really, really important, if you're chronically stressed, I'm going to just read this out, chronically stressed, worrying, have chronic infections, multiple concussions in the past, or your RAS, your reticular activating system, is overactive, then you will constantly be in what's called fight or flight, okay, which is your survival mode, which switches off rest and digestion. Okay, it's going to release lots of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, your stress hormones, and your get up and go hormones, and also lots of what are called cytokines, which can cause inflammation, and you'll have decreased rest and relaxation. So if you're chronically stressed, with all these chronic things happening to you, you're going to be unable to sleep unless you get these things looked at. So as you are realizing, sleep is more than just about closing your eyes. The process of falling asleep requires an elaborate cerebral orchestration of hormones, biological rhythms, and environmental cues. So cue the environmental cues. So the most obvious one is light and dark. Okay, and all these rhythms that we have in our body are called, or daily rhythms, are called circadian rhythms. And basically, different sort of disruptions are related to different problems throughout the day. This is an interesting chart. You can have a look at it later. But basically, your rhythms are actually set off not by just trying to close your eyes at night, but actually by when you get up in the morning. And this is the most important thing, is getting up in the morning and getting some sunlight, outside sunlight, which is all blue light. Because you want lots of blue light in the morning. Blue light literally wakes you up. It wakes you up. It shuts off melatonin production, and it really activates your midbrain and gets your reticular activating system working, and it gets you awake. Okay, and it's blue light in the morning is absolutely key. That's when you want lots of blue light. Now, all of our computer screens and everything, that's all emitting blue light. So I'm getting blue lit at the moment, but we have a remedy. I'll be getting to that in a moment. Okay, and then, so there are lots of disruptions to this body clock. There's light temperature. That was, I didn't have a separate slide on temperature. I'm sorry. The other part of the rhythms is temperature, the other big part. Basically, in the morning, the sun comes up, the world warms up, we warm up. And warmth is a signal for us to wake up. At the end of the day, the sun goes down, it gets dark, we get less blue light happening naturally, it also gets colder. And less blue light and lower temperature are a signal for us to fall asleep. And so we have all these factors, like we have lights on at night emitting blue light, computer screens emitting blue light. We also have radiators and warmth and central heating having warmth too late at night. And so these things have been around for a long time, disrupting our circadian rhythm. But now we have all kinds of other electromagnetic smog, and so mobile phones, Wi-Fi, all of these things, Fitbits as well, smart meters in our homes. We're getting more and more electromagnetic radiation, which is actually playing around with our rhythms. It's very important to do things about them, but there's more, okay? Because the brain, okay, your brain, my brain, everybody's brain is the most nutrient dependent, okay? So every part of the brain, the pineal gland, the hypothalamus, everything, if it doesn't get the right nutrients, it won't work. It won't be able to produce the chemicals that you need. It's the most energy dependent, and energy depends on a couple of things, not just the nutrients, but something else, which we'll get to in a moment. It is the most toxin vulnerable organ in the body. Okay, and there is plenty of research that says that the reason that many people can't sleep is because their brain or the nervous system or some part of their body is toxic. And we're going to cover this in a moment. And it's also stress vulnerable, which I've also already spoken about a little bit. So if you're stressed, you can't fall asleep and the brain doesn't work. So what is the fix for all of these? What are the good nutrients for the brain? Well, the best study, I think, so far is the Brazilian study, and you can already see highlighted chocolate and coconut. All right, I should have put this on a separate slide. Basically, in Brazil, they did a study on people who slept normally, people who slept, so 8 hours, basically, people who slept more than 8 hours, so abnormally long, and people who didn't sleep very well at all. And they looked at all the foods, and they looked at water, they looked at all kinds of things. And they basically found, okay, that the thing that related to the best sleep, okay, ignore what I've written there so far, was actually dietary variation. So it wasn't any one particular food, it was actually the variation. Now, if you've watched me speak about cancer, you'll see that diet variation comes up time and time and time again. Different superfoods. I've recently done a series on YouTube, so go and watch the Superfood series by me, Chris Pickard. Every different food type has different nutrients that block cancer cells from forming. There are about 60 different stages of mutation. Different plant nutrients either slow down or block different stages of mutation. But also different nutrients in food are responsible for different chemicals in the brain, in the body, different parts of the body for growing and forming, decreasing inflammation, making hormones, making sleep hormones. And diet variation really was the key. But what they also found was that within the diet variation, the people who had the most what are called theobromine and the most dodecanoic acid, also known as lauric acid, were the people who had the best sleep. Not the longest sleep, not too little, but just the right sleep. And theobromine is found in chocolate, dark chocolate. It's the thing that makes dark chocolate bitter. That bitter taste is theobromine, okay? And lauric acid is coconut oil, basically. And so if you want good sleep, then make sure you do get chocolate and coconut in your diet, but you want diet variation. There's no one magic food, okay? You need variation. So let's get on to a little bit, because food is basically variation, lots and lots. The more different plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, berries that you can eat, the better. And to help you with that, which is really important, is something called dynamic greens. It's circling in yellow at the moment, fruits and greens. Now, this is one of the things I have every day, because most people throughout the year tend to only eat about 20 or 30 different types of plant, and that's throughout an entire year. Whereas in the past, we had much wider diet variation. And when you go to places like Brazil, there is actually more diet variation, because through the year, different seasons, different things grow, different locations, lots more different foods. Now, fruits and greens is made from 40 different superfoods and nutrients. So you get thousands of different nutrients in there. And they also have a chocolate one as well, although there's no need to go for the chocolate one if you're a sleeper, if you're not sleeping rather, because it's not full of theobromine. It's just a bit of chocolate. Whereas, okay, one of my favorite things in the entire world for getting theobromine and something else is something called Organogold hot chocolate, which, okay, is no ordinary hot chocolate. Okay, yes, it's lovely chocolate, comes in big sachets like this, cheaper than going to somewhere like Starbucks, but it's also full of a part of a mushroom called Ganoderma, also known as reishi mushroom. And it's the what's called mycelium, which is the roots and the young part of the mushroom. And Ganoderma mycelium is really good for calming the brain and upping GABA, that really calming neurotransmitter. But it also feeds the brain in various other ways as well. It's full of something called nitric oxide, which helps you get to sleep, as well as things like GABA that help you get to sleep. And it's also got things in it that help you stay asleep as well. So those are two of my favorite drinks, but I really, really like this drink here as well. There are other drinks, and I'll tell you how to get hold of lots more drinks and ideas at the end. But Mega Mag Calm Ease. Magnesium is really needed to relax your body, and B vitamins are needed to make various neurotransmitters in the brain to help you fall asleep. There's something called taurine as well, really important to relax the brain, and Mega Mag Calm Ease is full of these things. Even something as simple as chamomile tea can actually help you fall asleep, but I'm guessing if you're watching this, you've tried the simple things. Okay, so these are three of my favorite nutrients to help people calm their brain down. There are others as well. It depends on how complex the case is. Now, energy, diet variation. Okay, so for the brain, as I said, it's the most nutrient dependent, energy dependent. And there's two ways the brain gets its energy. One is through nutrients and food. Okay, the second thing is movement. And 90% of the stimulation and nutrition of the brain is generated by movement of the spine. So even though exercise, going out and running, is something that I encourage everyone to actually get up and move around. If you're having problems sleeping, you need to get outside in the fresh air early in the morning, throughout the day, keep moving. But if your spine is not fully functioning and moving, okay, each one of the vertebrae that stiffen your spine is like a little dynamo that should be driving the brain that no longer is. And so if your spine isn't moving regularly, then you lose nutrition to the brain and you lose your ability to sleep. So many patients, when they come in, even if you know, see me for pain, sometimes even before their pain goes, they report better sleep, because even though pain can stop you sleeping, once we get the spine working, it can give the brain enough energy to switch off and go to sleep. I know it sounds bizarre, but literally your brain has to be energized through the day to make you fall asleep. Okay. Now, also spoke about toxins, the brain being toxin vulnerable, and there's two slightly different intertwined mechanisms as how different toxins actually cause sleep problems. Okay, one of them is directly, and I'll go through the mechanism in a moment. And it's really getting widely published now that air pollution may actually be disrupting sleep. A couple of studies in the last few years. And as we know, 40,000 people at least every year in the UK, and it may be 200,000 people in the UK every year, have their deaths directly linked to air pollution. It's not just in London, it's over the whole of the UK. Okay, and basically they're recognizing that air pollution is linked with actually disrupting our circadian rhythms. Now, how does it do this? Well, it's because all of these different toxins, and it's not just air pollution, there's toxins in the water we're drinking, in the food we're eating, and there are so many things we're voluntarily choosing to put in our bodies that are increasing toxicity and putting pressure on the liver, so the liver can't get rid of all the toxins. And the mechanism is that basically toxins stimulate cortisol and inflammation, which increase glutamate, which is something that excites your brain, and they decrease melatonin, serotonin, which you need to actually relax. So basically toxins basically create inflammation and irritation of the brain and stop you from sleeping. Simple as that. So if you've got chronic sleep problems and you've tried all the simple stuff, you need to look at detoxification. Now the second thing, and this is sometimes a bit of a hint that toxins are a big problem, is according to traditional Chinese medicine, as you go through the day in Chinese medicine, there's the energy Chinese. So this isn't Western medicine, okay? But sometimes it can actually help you understand what might be going on in your body. So the Chinese say that throughout the day, energy is in different organs of the body. And if you're having symptoms at the same time every day, then look to that organ. And so many people say they wake up between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and they can't get back to sleep again. And this, in Chinese medicine, is when your liver is perhaps at its most stressed, or it should be at its most energetic. Okay, but if you're having problems processing toxins, then you are going to wake up between 2 and 3 o'clock, and you may stay awake. Other doctors have thought that maybe between 2 and 3 in the morning, your liver is actually trying to get rid of more toxins. I haven't seen any studies that actually say this is true. But basically, as you're dumping toxins into your gut, okay, some of these toxins are reabsorbed. They irritate your gut lining more at night than in the day. Don't know why. Okay, but and this is just theory at the moment. And some of them get resorbed into your body, into your bloodstream, so they actually then circulate into the brain and irritate the brain. But basically, toxins can either cause direct irritation or indirect irritation by just inflaming your system and maybe waking you up. So if you're waking up a lot in the night, it's possibly due to toxicity, possibly. But certainly we know that toxins are a big problem. Oh, look, and here's my little chart. Oh, here's the liver and the gallbladder dumping toxins into the bowels and waking you up at night. Okay, so now, so what's the answer to this? So I've told you the answer to some things. The answer is basically detoxification. Okay, actually I haven't told you the answer to anything yet, have I? I'm going to start with detoxification. So detoxification. This is really important for many reasons. Toxins, if you've watched my other webinars, you know it comes up time and time again. They can cause pain, arthritis, dementia because it attacks the brain, heart disease, cancers. So everybody should do some form of detoxification. And Dr. Rakowski's detox protocol, which there's a few different ones depending on what's going on, it's really important. And it's really good to do this once a month for at least 3 to 6 months. Okay, it's an intense week of very, very restricted diet, eating only organic vegetables. You also have to take lots of what are called functional foods and some other nutrients to help your liver and your kidneys and your body work. And then for the 3 weeks or the rest of the month, you then make sure you carry on taking nutrients, and there are specific things to help with sleep as well that you can take, as well as eating the right foods. Okay, but you want to repeat this every month for at least 3 to 6 months, because you need to not just clear the the superficial toxins, but you need to get into the nervous system and the brain. The more you detox, the deeper you're going to get to the root cause of your problem. So very, very important. Okay. And then, yes, and fasting is also very, very important. Fasting can help produce sleep as well. And then, which I cover in one of my programs. So, beating stress. Beating stress. 2006 review in The Lancet found that various forms of counselling and psychological help are not only the most effective, but also the safest way to tackle chronic insomnia. So, better than drugs. So, there's that. There's also, I forgot to put a slide in here. There's something called autogenic training. I forgot to put the slide in. I do apologize. Okay, I'll put something about autogenic training on the sleep page. I'll just make a note here. I can't believe I forgot that. Autogenic training. Autogenic training is basically about breathing rhythms, and using breathing rhythms to actually help promote relaxation in the body. So I'm really sorry about that. I was going to put it in here. So beating stress, autogenic training. There are other de-stressing techniques that I like to introduce people to as well if they're chronically stressed. Then for light, here we go. Blue blockers. Amber coloured glasses, as demonstrated here, actually block out blue light. So basically, the blue that I'm seeing on my screen now has gone to a slightly green colour. Okay, and these are some simple ones. They cost £10. I also, on my screen, I have some software that decreases the blue light output of my screen past dusk. I have blue light software on my phone. In fact, Samsung phones actually come with blue light software anyway. I think iPhones might do as well. So it's something that's so well known, okay, that Samsung and iPhones and Apple, they actually have blue light options to decrease blue light on the phone. And you can actually download software for free. There's also paid for software that's even better for the screens. And you can also get blue light blockers as well. So these are just a basic pair that I wear at home as well, watching TV, if I'm watching TV late at night. But you can get really funky, snazzy pairs. You can get some that cost 40, 50, 60 quid. You can actually get them prescription as well. So you can spend 100, 200 pounds on a pair of really funky looking blue light blockers as well that are for you personally, for your eyes. So blue light blockers really, really, really useful to get. Now, with hot cold, something that can be amazing is an ice pillow or a cooling pillow. You can actually get pillows with types of gel in that help disperse the heat from your head. You can even just simply get an ice pack, wrap it up in a tea towel, stick it inside your pillow to help keep your head cool. Okay, as well as just turning the temperature down in the room at night. You can also get these cooling sort of blanket things as well. That's I think it's called a sleep buddy. You can put inside your pillowcase that helps disperse the heat. Very, very, very clever, very simple, can be very effective. Okay, so habits and hygiene. So this is a basic protocol, and like any habit, the more you do it, it doesn't take 21 days, it actually takes more like 90 days to get new habits into your brain and your body. Okay, so the first thing, if you're having sleeping problems, is to actually get up early. Get up early and go outside. You want to go outside because the sunlight you'll get, or the light you'll get outside, even if you're like in a conservatory or if you buy big windows like we have at the front of my clinic, okay, the amount of light difference is it's like 10 to 100 times more the moment you go outside. It's huge amounts more. So in the morning when the sun comes up, you want to get outside. You want to get blue light at the beginning of the day because this then stimulates your midbrain, okay, and it switches off melatonin at the beginning of the day. And it makes you much more awake. But what this does is it actually starts the whole sleep-wake cycle rhythm cascade of hormones in your body. So it's the most important thing to do. Get up, get outside, do some simple movements outside. Okay. If you've seen my why I exercise outside in the morning video, go and watch it. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. In fact, I'm going to add that as well to that page. Exercise in the morning. Okay. try and keep as active as you can all day. Try not to sit down, or if you are sitting down, just get up and move around every hour, just for 30 seconds. No stimulants afternoon, so no caffeine or anything that might actually perk and spike you up. No, nothing high sugar, nothing like that afternoon. Make sure that you stop eating by 6. Now, there are some hormone issues where, and some energy issues where you do have to eat a little something before night, and I do teach people about that. But basic rule of thumb, no eating after 6. No computer or TV 2 hours before bed. And make sure you wear blue blockers. Once it actually starts getting dusky outside, wear blue blockers or screens. Do things to just decrease all that blue light as much as possible. And then make sure you turn off your Wi-Fi. Put your phone onto airplane mode, okay, or just turn it off. And turn off the Wi-Fi in your whole house. And if you can, shield your smart meter if you've got a smart meter. I haven't had one installed because they're so bad. I don't use Fitbits or anything like that because it's just more electromagnetic smog, basically. So yeah, so put your phone onto airplane mode, turn off Wi-Fi in your entire house if you're having sleep problems. And make sure that your bedroom is cool, okay, preferably 19 degrees centigrade seems to be the magic number. And make sure it's as dark as possible, so cover off all lights. Make sure that there's absolutely nothing, okay? No light whatsoever. And those habits are going to set you up well, okay? Okay. Now, unfortunately, today's modern lifestyle means we have increased blue light and decreased dark. We have increased nighttime temperature, increased stress, and decreased activity, and increased toxicity, and decreased nutrition. And you might also be in pain as well. So it's really important to look after all of these things. Now, hopefully, I've actually given you a lot to be going on with, and I'll give you a little website. I'll put some other bits and pieces up there for you as well. Okay, like links to some of these products, like the pillow and the blue blockers anyway. And I'll put the autogenic training stuff up there as well when I remember. But would you like my help? Do you think this is all a bit too much? Okay, and you want some help? If you do want some help, then I am going to be starting something called the Anti-Aging Sleep Lab. 7 weeks to a dream year. It says 7 weeks, but because originally I thought I could do this in 7 weeks, but it's actually going to be more like 3 months. But we basically go through a couple of things twice. Okay, it's because I do actually have an anti-aging program at 7 weeks, but I realized no, this needs to be 3 months. So I have a sleep coaching program. It will be 3 months long. Okay, and what I will do is I'm going to give you all the recordings from my previous sleep materials. Now, I've done something called the Magnificent 7 Health Heroes coaching training. And that was hours and hours and hours worth of training on everything you need to basically know about health, all from Dr. Bob Rakowski. People paid a couple of £100 when I first did it, and then I've upgraded it, and it's now £400, this program. And I've done a Magnificent 7 2.0 version as well. So you'll get the sleep modules from that, because sleep is one of the Magnificent 7. I've also done some separate trainings on sleep as well. Lots of little ones, so you're going to get over 3 hours worth of training. Plus, because stress is so important, I'm going to give you my stress busting webinar as well. Okay, all from separate programs. And then also we're going to do 3 or 4 monthly, probably 4 monthly coaching sessions. We're going to do something at the beginning of something to get us all kick-started, 1, and then 3 after 30 days. So you're going to get 4 monthly group coaching calls, I think, to be fair. And for 3 months, you'll have access to my Magnificent 7 Health Strategies Facebook group, so you can actually ask questions generally about health, plus you'll get email support as well. And over that 3 months, with all the information, we'll go through my 17 tips for a good night's sleep. Didn't talk about adrenal glands today, more hot-cold hacks, stress methylation in sleep. If you watched all the videos to this, you'd have already learned about methylation, but I go into more depth. I'll cover actually the detox for sleep as well. the epilepsy diet and sleep, and also fasting and sleep, which is very, very important. It can be very, very powerful. When to exercise best for sleep, when to have a bath as well. I'm going to go more into sleep neurotransmitters and all the different foods and nutrients you need for them. How to use melatonin properly, more into hormone balances, adrenal, thyroid, sex hormones. And also we'll look at chronic infections as well, which I'm realizing can be a big problem in some people with a lack of sleep. But by far and away the strategy that's really going to take the time to implement, because a lot of these things are going to be fairly sort of instant fixes in some way. You just have to repeat them. But the thing I really want to teach people in the coaching program is the sleep window, Dr. Akowski's sleep window, which is basically getting people to that 10 to 6 sleep period. And the supplements to buffer stress and calm the brain as well, which you add in certain things at different times of the day. And that's something we need to start off with straight away. So if you think you would like help, you want to really get into this sleep window idea straight away, then go to this website. The Pain Relief Centre. In fact, I'm actually going to put it into the chat box here, so you can just click on it, I hope. Yes, so you can just click on it rather than typing it in. So you can either go type in the painreliefcentres.co.uk and then /sleep, or bodyimbalanceuk.com/sleep. Takes you to the same page. You can just click on the link that I put in the chat box there. It's going to take you to the page, and all that's on the page at the moment is two things. It's basically a button that basically says subscribe. Okay, and the subscribe button is going to take you to PayPal or your credit card processor, and you pay £77, and then in 30 days you'll be billed for £77, and another 30 days another £77. So you're going to get billed 3 times £77 for 3 months worth of coaching. Okay, and also you'll go instantly to a page where I've done a recording about the sleep window. I might update it because it's quite old, then I may put some more information in there, but you're going to get instant access to the sleep window training, because it's really good to just start getting your head around that straight away. And then I'll email you out all the rest of the materials. Now, if you just want all of my previous recordings, all the information, you don't think you want the coaching, you just want the information, okay, then it's only £77. But just go and hit the subscribe button, and because you're going to be invited, you've basically got 30 days, okay, before you're going to be billed again. And you can go through the training material, you can come into the Facebook group, you can come on the first coaching call as well. And then if you decide that you don't want to go ahead with the rest of the coaching, just let me know, or you can do it via PayPal yourself and just stop the other 2 payments coming out. And that's the easiest way to do things, basically. So if you would like help, go there. And also on that sleep page, I have put some links to some of the cooling things, to the blue light blockers, so you can go and have a look. And I will put a link to autogenic training as well, and my morning exercise routine for the sunshine as well. So I put another couple of things up there for you. And if you have any questions, you can email me or contact me via Facebook, whatever you want to do, basically. I will be here to help. If you are already in one of my coaching groups and you already have all this information, then of course you're going to get £77 off. It's as simple as that. Again, if you're a patient currently working with me as well, then again, just talk to me. If you're in the next week, basically, because there's some other things I may be able to do for you. So there's a question there, Paul. How does alcohol affect sleep? Well, that's a good question. While alcohol can make you feel soporific, and it can make you tired at first, and actually because it basically causes havoc with the liver, it can actually then cause arousal of the brain because of inflammation, and it affects liver. So alcohol, it can seemingly help you at first, but it's not a good strategy for sleep at all. It will actually start disrupting sleep and causing sleep problems. Okay, thank you very much, Carol. Sorry I missed you there, Audrey. Okay, so are there any other questions for the moment? Okay. Sue Upton, can we get fruits and greens from you? Yes, you can get fruits and greens from me, Sue. Just drop me a line. Have you got, well, you should have my email address or Facebook. Yes, you can get dynamic fruits and greens from me. We can get it sent straight out to you. No problem at all, Sue. Okay. And what I will, there's one more question. Okay. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Okay, I will stop the recording button now.